everybody, welcome to the 5 Steps to Getting Irresistible to Funders webinar. I'm really excited to share this information with you today. I think it's going to be really helpful to you and your organization as you think about how you can better attract grants. I'm not going to talk about grant writing in this situation. I'm going to be talking about how you can develop an organization that is so attractive to funders that you no longer have to go banging down the door of every funder you are interested in, but rather you can sort of relax a little bit, do your job, meet your mission, and start to see funders get interested in you. I was able to accomplish this with an organization that I worked for many years, and I'm pretty sure that it can be done with lots of different organizations, and I want to teach you how to do that. All right. So 5 steps to getting irresistible to funders. I want to just make sure that it's clear right now that while I'm going to get into 5 steps that we can break down into further bits and tasks that you have to do, this is not something that's easy to do, while it is something that's simple to do. So I just want to prepare you a little bit for the work on that, and to let you know that while these 5 steps might seem pretty straightforward, there's a lot that goes into it, and it is a process that excuse me, that it is a process that will take some work and some time as you go. A little bit about myself. I'm Sarai Johnson. I'm this smiling person right here. I'm the principal of Lean Nonprofit. I have 2 adorable boys. Their names are Tavi and Kalevi right here. That's them in their favorite way of playing, which is they're on a boat hunt, I think, there. I'm married to this guy. His name is Stu Johnson, and this is my dog Penny. So that's who I am in my family, and I love to be with these guys. They're pretty awesome people. My work is Lean Nonprofit and also Sarai Johnson Consulting. I help nonprofits to run better businesses so that they can get bigger mission results, and I am in particular interested in working with practitioners like you to help you to do better at your job. I also am launching Sarai Johnson Consulting, which is a consulting firm aimed at helping social enterprises and small businesses meet their own missions as well. So not necessarily just in the nonprofit space, but a little bit more broadly. I am the best-selling author of Strategic Planning That Actually Works, which is available on the Amazon store, and I have another book that's forthcoming called Grant Magnet that will be out in March 2015. I've run the Get Strategic Now program, which is operating currently. I think we're in our 3rd week, and we will continue that for 6 weeks total. And that's a program that's helping people to get strategic. I will also be offering a program around Grant Magnet as well that will build on all of the steps that I'm going to talk about today in great detail. My mission is to work with people like you. I want to rekindle your passion, help you find your spark, help you anchor your skills and abilities, and build your true mission so that together we can transform the nonprofit sector. The reason why I want to do this work isn't just because I need a job or because I want to do something that I'm good at. It's because I really believe in the nonprofit sector as a whole, and I want to help it to become better so that we can make a bigger impact in the world for good. I also think that it's important to invest in people who work in nonprofits. You guys work really hard, and you have jobs that demand more of yourself than most people ever have to give, and I find it extremely important to invest in you and your time and your skills and to help you feel good about what you're doing, and that's what I'm here for. Without further ado, I want to get into the 5 steps about how you can become irresistible to funders. This isn't going to be a super long webinar, but I do want to give you an overview about how I know that we were able to create a very desirable organization through NEDCO, my experience there, Neighborhood Economic Development Corporation, and to give you an overview of how we did that. Of course, while we were doing it, we didn't have 5 steps, so we didn't quite know what we were doing exactly as far as a system goes, but what I've attempted to do is to distill what I know we did into a few steps that can be more manageable and that we can dissect a little bit and dig into. So the first step is that you have to set your intention. And by set your intention, I mean understand what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. This isn't a nebulous thing to do. It's something that requires you to be very clear and thoughtful about what you're trying to accomplish and so forth. We'll get into that a little bit more in just a moment. And the second step is to understand and believe in your value. One of the things that we have a hard time with in nonprofits is identifying what the value is that we're putting out into the world. I also mean this in a financial way, beyond just the actual value of the work that we're doing, but also the financial value of the work that we're doing. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. The third step is to put that value out into the world. You do this through the programs that you run, how you choose to develop those programs, and how you communicate. The fourth thing is to give the money a home, finding a place for that money to land so that it can get to work for you. And finally, receive the money and put it to good use. This could just as easily be around this circle here. It could be a cycle. It's something that builds on itself and it spirals up and forward. So as you do this, keep in mind that it's not that you do these 5 steps one time and then you're all done and everything's going to be perfect. It's that you continue to develop, grow, and build on what you've achieved and accomplished in the past. And that's what's going to make you irresistible to funders. If they see you making progress forever and always, they will be interested and intrigued in your work and they'll want to support it. And that's what we're trying to get to today. So the first step, as I mentioned, is to set your intention. Set your intention has a lot of different meanings to a lot of different people. And the way that I like to describe it is that it's you indicating to yourself and to your team what you're doing, why it matters, and what you need in order to do it. What are you doing is a question about what is your organization currently performing, or what would you like to do? Why does it matter is answering the question about what problem are you solving with the work that you're doing. And then finally, what do you need is what resources do you need to have in place in order to make that difference that you're attempting to make. Once you identify what these 3 things are, you'll have a little bit of information about how you can start to communicate with funders about your work. These are the things that funders want to know, but you're still thinking from your own organizational perspective at this moment, and we're not thinking about the funder just yet. But this stuff is important to have down because it will allow you to refine your funder search. So as you start to do research on grant funders and sponsor funders and others, you'll be able to articulate what you're doing, why it matters, and what you need in order to make that happen. The second step is to understand and believe in your value. Like I said a moment ago, believing in your value is something that nonprofits often don't do very well. We underplay our work, we're very humble, and we often don't ask for the funds that we need in order to do the work that we have to do. 4 things go into understanding and believing in our value. First, it's just knowing what the value is. What is your mission? What is your vision for your organization and also for yourself as a person, as an individual? It's important to understand what these things are because in order to truly sell that mission and that vision, you have to believe it and own it and feel it in your bones. You can't sell a mission that you don't care about personally. I don't care how good you are at writing grants or how good you are at doing whatever you do. You will not sell a mission fully and create an organization that's irresistible to funders if you're not living and breathing that result, that passion, that mission that you have. The next thing is results. What are you actually accomplishing and how do you measure it? You need to be able to articulate what the result is because while you are asking for grant funding, you're truly delivering a result to that funder that they're interested in investing in. I love to think about grants as venture capital for nonprofit organizations because it's an investment that that funder is making in the result that you're getting, and the return on that investment is the social benefit that you're providing. That's why it's so important for you to be able to measure your results and understand what those results are, to articulate them, and to truly own those results and see the difference that you're making every day in the world. A lot of grant funders aren't thinking or saying out loud that they're making an investment in your organization, and the way that we've thought about grants for so long is around just getting money. We think of it as free money. We think of it as just money that's plugging the holes in our budget, but that's not really what grants are about. Grants are truly about getting results and investing in social benefit. And it's your job to understand what those results are so that you can articulate the return on investment to those funders. And as you do that, they will appreciate you, they'll appreciate your efforts, and they will see the value in what you're doing. And then all of these things roll up into your organizational brand. And I know that branding is obviously a marketing thing, but it's also a quality thing. You're known by your brand in the community, funders, and also other nonprofits, and just in general in the community. Your brand is your identity as an organization, and that brand and identity is built on your mission, vision, and results. And that's how it should be. Yes, it's fun to brand and make your visual identity beautiful and all of that. But what you're really trying to accomplish is getting your nonprofit to be known for something, which leads me to step 3, putting your value into the world. This is where you start to communicate with the community and dedicate yourselves to building credibility, expertise, trust, and developing funder relationships. This comes out of your brand to some degree because it's a place where you can leverage that brand that you're developing. You want to be known for something. It's up to you to decide what that thing is to you. What's important to your organization, and what do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for doing the best work in your field? Or do you want to be known for doing something that's not the best in your field? Those are 2 big options. But ultimately what you're trying to do is establish yourselves as the experts in whatever field or fields you choose. In so doing, you're going to build credibility and trust. As you build trust, you develop relationships. As you develop relationships, funders will invest in you in tandem with the amount of trust and credibility that you've built up with them. Sometimes you can do this through a grant proposal or an RFP, but more likely you have to do it over time by communicating consistently, by being true to your brand, by developing credibility and expertise externally as well as internally, and investing in those funder relationships. The truth is that funders are just like any other entity that wants to give you money or provide something of value to you. These are people who have relationships with other people, and they're interested in working with you in order to provide that social good that we talked about a minute ago. They're not going to do that with somebody that they can't trust to put it to the best possible use. So as you develop credibility and expertise, you position yourself in the marketplace of other nonprofits to show that you provide the greatest value, the greatest return on the investment that funders are making in you. 4th thing, you give the money at home. So I haven't even talked at all about asking, have I? Asking is part of the relationship development. Basically what happens as far as nonprofits go, and as far as really any business goes, is that what I've just been talking about for the last several minutes is essentially marketing. You're marketing yourself as the credible expert. You're marketing yourself as a certain brand to be known for something in particular. And you're also building relationships with funders that are based on you and your organization. This is a place where it's really important to be careful about how you build those relationships and with whom in your organization do you build them, because you want to make sure that you have the relationships with the right people at the right levels, and that there's a succession plan for handing off that relationship if somebody were to leave your organization, which happens a lot. So let's just get real about it and make sure that we're really managing those relationships in a personal way. I think it's challenging in nonprofits. We come from this fundraising world where we can easily box people into this sort of commodity zone. We're asking them for money, we want to get something from them, and we're always focused on that result. But ultimately, we need to remember that we're dealing with people. So I'm skipping asking because I don't want to talk about grant writing right now. I want to talk about this cycle. So assuming that somewhere during your relationship, you have an opportunity to ask for funding and they say no. If they say no, it's a chance for you to build that relationship deeper by asking for feedback. Every single interaction you have with any funder anywhere is an opportunity for you to build a relationship and establish more credibility. So if you get a decline on a grant, I always suggest that you ask for feedback, even if the feedback is super generic. Oh, we had so many good requests and whatever. It's just an opportunity for you to show them that you're serious and that you care about what they think. Because you might not be a fit for every funder. You're not. You're surely not a fit for every single funder. And so if you're asking for money from somebody that you don't fit with, it's important to know that so that you can stop bothering them and move on to somebody who really wants to give you some money. So 4th thing is give the money a home, which is when your funder says yes to you. They say yes to you, you will need to have a program developed. I love to use pilots for grants, and the reason for that is just what I said a few minutes ago, is that grants are really venture capital for nonprofit organizations. Pilots are a really wonderful way to get that kind of capital into your organization, and it also gives you a chance to try something, pivot if you need to pivot, and to put it on the ground and see how it works. This is also a place to start with testing a little bit of evaluation And that's going to get you off to a really good start with that funder, because they'll be able to see what you're doing. They'll also be able to see that you're innovating, which is really attractive to funders, and that you're measuring the results that you get by trying this innovation. Once you have a pilot that works really well and you've evaluated it appropriately, you can build what's called an evidence-based program. And when you do that, you have something that is extremely valuable, not only to funders, but also to other nonprofit organizations, and that can open up a revenue stream for you, which will help you a lot. That's a perfect example of grants as a venture capital fund, because you're able to develop something that can make you money over time and continue to sustain itself. And the final piece here is communication. You are always looking for the results of your pilots and or your programs through evaluation, and then communicating about those results with funders and with the community in general. This is a really important step because you want to continue to establish that credibility, that level of expertise. You want to show the results that you're getting because you want to be able to sell what you're doing to the community at large and to the funders that you're serving, or rather the funders that are giving you money. And then the final step in this cycle is to receive the money and put it to good use. There are a few reasons why I put this in here. I think it's important for us to notice and think about what happens after the funder gives you an award, a grant award. It's really easy to stop at the writing and the receipt of the money and not talk about what happens after that. I found in my career in a nonprofit organization, and especially as I was writing grants, how challenging it was to find any help or any information or training about how to manage grants. What do you do with the money once you get it? It's nice to have it, but once you get it, you have to really think about how that's going to be put into use in your organization. So I highly recommend that as you develop your cycle of irresistibility, that you really think about how you want to manage the money once you get it. First step, gratitude and celebration. So first you need to absolutely send a thank you to your funder, of course, and a personal thank you to whoever your contact is with the foundation or corporation that you've been working with. Because while usually there's a board or trustees that are making a decision about funding, you probably are working with a program officer or an employee of the foundation or corporation, and it's important for you to continue to maintain that relationship. So send them a thank you note or something to let them know that you're appreciative of their giving and their partnership with you. You don't want to send them a gift because that could be construed as bribery, but you do want to make sure that they understand that you appreciate them and that you care about them. And to keep in touch with them when you're not asking them for money so that you can continue to build the relationship in other ways. The second part of this is celebration. Internal celebration is critical when you're getting grants because it's so easy to just get one more grant, put it in under your belt and move forward and not really think about it. But ultimately your people are working hard to get grants, you're working hard to get grants, and when you get any grant of any amount, it is worth a celebration. This is something that you can do internally by just sending out an internal email to everybody, making sure your board knows, making sure whoever wrote the grant feels good about it, and including the program staff who are going to be working on that grant. And it's also something that you can do by sending out a press release and having a public recognition of the funder and of your organization. That's another piece that goes right back into feeding your credibility and expertise, and it sets the funder apart as well, helps them to feel really good about what they've done for you. Grant management is maybe the least amount of fun in this whole process, but it's one of the most important things. You will become irresistible to funders if you follow all of their deadlines for reports, if you spend the money as you say you'll spend it, and if you stay on track with your project. And if you communicate if you're not staying on track with your project. Some of the challenges with grant management is that we get stuck feeling worried about what funders will do or think if we're not on track with where we thought we would be, or if we don't know what the options are that we have for changing the strategy that we might have during the middle of a grant. So communication with your funder is absolutely critical in managing your grant in keeping with what you had proposed at the beginning, or alternatively what you had agreed on after the award is going to get you far down the road on building that continued trust and credibility with the funder. What I'd suggest is that you want to be the best grantee they have. You want all your reports to be on time or early. You want the reports to be perfect and error-free. You want to give them a heads up anytime you have a hiccup in your plan or something isn't working as you had expected. All of that needs to be a part of your strategy on grant management, not to mention the fact that you just have to keep your compliance in order. And there are a lot of things to comply with in a grant contract, more than what people might think at the beginning. The last thing here is continuous improvement. And that has to do a little bit with some of that communication that I was just talking about. But ultimately, you really want to make sure that you are providing the best quality projects and programs that you can as an organization, and that you are always open to and ready to improve on those plans and those projects as you roll them out. Continuous improvement then also feeds right back up into the cycle, back into number one, about setting your intention. So you're in a new place now that you've gone through the whole cycle, you've gotten a grant, you've managed it well, you've done a great job, you did a pilot, now it's a program, and you want to improve it. So you continue to improve it. What do you need in order to improve it? Well, probably more money. So it's time for you to ask for money again by starting over at setting your intention, identifying what you're doing, why it matters, and what you need in order to do it. And then you go all the way through that cycle again and again and again. And ultimately, as you continue that cycle, you'll have more and more success, more and more proof of your success, and more ability to get out of that success what funders are willing to give you, because they see the value in what you're doing and you see the value in what you're doing and ask for it. That's the main cycle of how you can become irresistible to funders. And if you want to learn more about that, I am going to be launching a program called Grant Magnet on April 6th, 2015. Because you've participated in this webinar, I want to let you know that this program is up and ready to enroll in. It's on the website leannonprofit.com/grant magnet, and it's available for you to look at today and get some more information about how it's going to work. We're going to cover all 5 of these steps in extreme detail, down to exactly how you can make these things work for your organization, and ultimately how you can make over your organization to become very attractive and interesting to funders. You can visit me at leannonprofit.com and saraijohnsonconsulting.com. And if you want to get in touch with me and ask any questions or leave any comments, I'm at Sarai at leannonprofit.com, and 541-359-9425 is my phone number. I'd love to talk to you and hear about your questions and thoughts about these 5 steps. See if you can put any of these things into practice, and I'd love to know how that goes for you. So again, the website is leannonprofit.com. It's a great place to go for all kinds of different information about nonprofit work, and I have a lot of tools for you on that website, as well as some other free webinars just like this one, although most of those are longer than this webinar has been. This one's just a little bit of a short sneak peek, but I hope to see you there. If you haven't signed up for any of my updates, I want to invite you to do that, and hopefully you'll be able to get some good stuff out of that and become even better at your important job with your nonprofit. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to talking to you later.